Botswana, to me, is the greatest chance for the future of African wildlife conservation. There are times when you drive around and you can see like relatively intact ecosystems still, and it's really amazing. But at the same time, we are on the front lines of the conflict issues between wildlife and people.
The Okavango Delta is home to one of Africa's largest lion populations.
Lions are an iconic species of Africa, but they're also an iconic species for humans.
But as that population has grown, so too has the risk of conflict with the communities living along its edge.
I think as long as the current arrangement remains, where the delta itself remains the source of food and water for both human, wildlife and their livestock, conflict is always inevitable.
But there are people working on solutions to improve the lives of locals and wildlife alike.
If we were to lose lions, that effect we will feel for future generations. Not only their beauty, they are beautiful cats, but the role that they play in the ecosystem.
This is coexistence against the odds. This is Inside Africa. In northern Botswana, the Okavango Delta remains one of Africa's last great wilderness areas.
This is a very unique area that we are in. The Okavango Delta is the inland delta, and it doesn't flow to the sea. It comes in, it sinks into the Kalahari sand, and that's the end of it. It's very, very rich in wildlife, particularly the big herbivore species like big herds of buffalo, big herds of zebra, wildebeest at some point. That has allowed for a very healthy population of predators, particularly lion. It's also a major source of revenue for the country and for the communities that live in and around the delta.
I'm Dr. Andrew Stein, founder and executive director of Claws Conservancy. In 2013, a colleague of mine told me that there was a series of poisonings that were happening along the northern edge of the Okavango Delta, targeting lions in retaliation for livestock losses. I knew that I had some ideas that I always wanted to try, that I never had an opportunity to put into practice. I thought this might be my opportunity. When we started the program, we came out and started talking to people to find out what was really the core issue causing this conflict. And what we realized was that people were using poison because they were desperate. The biggest misconceptions with human-wildlife conflict, especially in Africa, is that people are just, actively killing these animals for no reason. When you have 5 cattle and lions kill 3 in a night, you've lost, 60% of your wealth. Of course you're going to be upset, and of course you want to take action and do something about it.
The delta creates conflict, right? It keeps breeding lions in there and churning them out in the communities. And it's a cycle that's going to go on forever. Lions naturally have to move, that's their way, but they are now moving here where the people are.
To build a more peaceful coexistence, the non-profit Communities Living Among Wildlife Sustainably, or CLAWS, focuses on 2 key areas: a communal herding program called Herding for Health, and the tracking and management of lions that move near villages.
The first thing we wanted to do was individualize lions. As we spoke to people, we realized people looked at lions as a conflict species. All individuals are the same. But anybody that has a pet cat or a dog realizes that they all have very different personalities. And it's the same thing with lions. So some of them are aggressive, some are curious, some are shy, some kill cattle and some don't. We would ask the villagers to give a name in their local language to the individual lions in their landscape, so that when we were sharing information and stories about each of their behaviors, family life, what they were eating, people could relate to them in a different kind of way. We started a lion alert system in 2019 where these collared lions, when they get within close proximity of a village, it triggers the automatic dispersal of an alert to people's cell phones that live within the area that the lion's approaching. It gives the name of the lion, how far away it is, so that people can take preventative action. Protect their cattle, put them into an enclosure at night, maybe light little fires around so that it deters lions from approaching. They can warn their neighbors and keep their families and their livestock safe.
I think she has been causing a lot of problems, mostly between Eretsa and Betsa. That's why she was causing loads and loads of conflict.
We even know of a female now that might be denning in this area somewhere. The collar itself, it's got the GPS on top and the battery pack underneath. And it's sort of set up as a counterweight. So the GPS is meant to be on the top of the neck so it can make contact with satellites. And then the counterweight below. So even if it shifts, it should shift back into place.
My name is Hobo Pawanisa. I'm the conflict mitigation manager with Close Conservancy in Botswana. I'm responsible for supervising a team of conflict mitigation officers in attending to any conflict cases that is related to lions. We are looking at the lion response team in action right now. They are responding to one of our collared lion. It's called Dombotienda. So Dombotienda is a high conflict lioness. So what you're going to see here is the lion response team using the deterrent in the form of a firecracker to try and deter her from coming close to the villages as well. So that's part of the responsibility of the lion response team to intercept her daily operation close to human settlements. Late December 2024 and also early January 2025, we had an incident where unfortunately one of the villagers was attacked by a lion, and we could see and feel from the community that that incident really affected them so much. So sometimes the hostility from the communities are justified, but then as a conservation organization, it's for you to working alongside the government through the Department of Wildlife, to engage with these communities because this is not an easy task at all, and it's not an easy life for the communities living alongside these wild animals. The population of the African lion has been going down drastically. So it's not like we have a lot of the last census was about 23,000, lion across Africa, which is not much. I think being part of the team that is looking for the solution to human and wildlife conflict is such an amazing thing. I believe in the future I want to look back and say I made a difference in the northern part of the Okavango Delta in terms of contributing to finding a solution to human and wildlife conflict.
In the last 11 years, conservation has changed a lot. And when we initially started the program, we were talking about human-lion conflict. And then we started trying to shift our focus from conflict, which has a negative connotation, to coexistence. And coexistence is more like a neutrality or even tolerance. And now we're shifting towards ecosystems, and now we're shifting towards a message of prosperity, where people and wildlife are thriving in the same landscape.
And that vision depends on more than tracking lions. To reduce conflict for good, communities need stronger cattle and a new way of herding them. Here in the Okavango, cattle remain at the heart of daily life. But the shift away from traditional herding has left livestock and communities exposed.
This country was built on the backbone of cattle. That's how Botswana was established.
As you drive around this landscape, most of the cattle are unattended and they're walking around on their own. There's no herder with them. Historically and traditionally, people would use herders to walk with the cattle, bring them to good grazing, to water, and then bring them home.
This is what our forefathers did. The last generation to herd cattle like this was my father. When he was a young man, they still practice this. But then everybody started going to school, getting jobs. There was nothing wrong with it, but we left an essential part of our culture in terms of the old ways of pastoral farming behind, and we lost it.
We found the first village in all of Botswana, a Retsa village, who was willing to try it and bring cattle together from different owners. We asked them to elect a grazing committee, and that grazing committee teaches us about where those cattle should go by dry season, wet season, because they know the area best. Jack Ramsden, who's our herding program coordinator, he's a farmer himself. He has training, as a veterinary assistant. He's worked in government. He's done all these different kinds of positions. He's really good at working with the herders and working with the farmers to actually share solutions, and they really value that.
So what you see behind me is called a communal herd. It's a communal herd because it's many different individuals in the community who have put their cattle in this herd to be managed under the system called Herding for Health. We are seeing overgrazing around communal areas, which leads to low productivity of the land. So what we are basically trying to do is just to reintroduce it. One, the system works for the land. Two, it protects the cattle from the predators. And if you can protect cattle from predators, then predators are safe from people because there is no need for retaliatory killings.
And by training local men and women as herders, Claus is providing steady income for families who depend on this land.
I love this job because it helps the farmers in this area, the people that they bring their cattle in the project, their benefit. This project buy medicine and supplementary this cattle with food is helping a lot for the farmers. When we compare this cattle to the cattle that are outside, those cattle that are outside are not healthy like this cattle. But this cattle, they are healthy because we are taking care of them.
My name is IP Ipokendi Mabe. I'm a herder here. I spend all the day with these cattle. We don't want to face the challenge of cattle eaten by lions or other predators. Yeah, that's why we spend the whole day with them, looking after them.
As they grow into the role, as with the trainings that we give them, they come to love the job. You need that human growth and the appreciation. The farmers themselves have come to appreciate them a lot when they see the work that they're doing, especially after they get their trainings and they're able to do a lot more than they could do 2 or 3 years ago. And they're more aware of their environment. They love what they do, they love the landscape, they love being out here. And we appreciate it every day.
I'm so proud to be a herder here, as a lady especially.
The main objective here is just to reduce the conflict between wildlife and people.
So what's happening today is that we are moving camp. This boma has to move. We have to follow the water and the grass because we don't want to damage the land where we are.
Claus has now established 4 communal herds, or bomas, named after the traditional livestock enclosures that protect cattle at night.
So this herd here, this is Boma 1. There is 35 farmers in here with 209 cattle. Typically, a boma like this will stay in one place for about a month, depending on how much grass is there. And then we move on to the next spot. So the cattle will be with the guys 24/7. They stay with them out in the field. They protect them from predators. They see where they're going to graze. They assess their rangeland as they're moving around.
The Claws team use collapsible bomas, allowing for a smooth transition from location to location.
This is something that our forefathers used to do, but we use shade netting. We use shade netting because it's easy to move around. It's vision proof, so the predators cannot see through it. And as well, it's just easy to move and it's light, easily collapsible, easy to pack up and move on. They'll call that home for the next month, and then as they are there, we are looking, along with the community, we are looking at another site in another paddock, and then after about a month, at most a month and a half, we'll move on to another site.
I'm very happy for the new home. This is a new camp. My role as a team leader is to make sure that all my team is happy and all team manage to do what we're supposed to do.
The whole communal herding or herding for health model, in my opinion and in my experience, is 80 to 85% relational. You absolutely have to develop relationships with the communities that you are working with, where you want to implement the model. You have to build confidence. You have to have confidence in them. They need to have confidence in you.
At this point, we've got a market for a better price. We have employment for locals. We have better health care for the cattle. We haven't had losses to lions in 3 years now. And we're improving the rangelands.
And for the first time, communities here can sell their cattle at a premium, creating a supply chain that benefits farmers, wildlife, and the lodges that depend on a healthy delta. In the Okavango Delta, herding for health is transforming how some communities protect their cattle. But for coexistence to last, farmers need something more, a market that rewards their efforts.
As we've grown it, and we're doing these different things within the herding for health principles, we linked up with Wildlife Friendly Enterprise Network to get our herds certified as wildlife friendly beef. And now we're selling that beef at a premium price to luxury lodges in the region and giving people market access for their beef.
It's a new model where better herding means better cattle and a better return for the communities who care for them.
We just arrived at Vumbura Lodge in the northern Okavango Delta, and we partnered with Wilderness Safaris to develop the certified wildlife friendly beef. This is a really exciting initiative because, first of all, it's the first sale of certified wildlife-friendly beef in all of Africa. When we first started our herding program, it was Wilderness that approached us first and said, we want to buy the beef from you, provide added benefit at a premium price.
Hello, Chef Steve.
Hi, Andrew.
Andrew, you're welcome to our kitchen.
So these are all different ways that the certified wildlife-friendly beef can be prepared.
And here, the story of coexistence is told through the food, a connection between local farmers, wildlife, and the guests who come to see both.
We've had feedback from guests. We've also offered tours to guests to go and sort of see the herding in practice as part of what we offer here. And then we've had them enjoy some of our meals here. They're kind of fascinated by our quest to keep coexistence through this partnership. So this beef coming in as an incentive and us buying it at a premium price as well means there is more motivation for why people should keep their livestock and worry less about lions as well.
As demand grows, more villagers want to join the program, turning conservation into a source of pride and prosperity.
We've determined that there's been about a 50% increase in lions. Because communities have had fewer losses, they've killed fewer lions, the population has been more stable, cub survivorship is much higher, so the prides are actually growing and growing in this area reversing trends that we're seeing all across Africa. The community members that are part of our program, that are part of certified wildlife friendly beef, they pledge not to kill lions. But if they're not having losses to lions, then there's no reason to persecute them in the first place. So if people are doing practices that promote wildlife, then they prosper themselves. There's something about lions that really captures our imagination, more than most other species, even African species. So when people come from all over the world to see lions, if they're on safari here in Botswana and they don't see an elephant and a lion, their safari's seen as a failure in a way, more so than almost any other species. And so if they were to disappear, if the Okavango, there was no roar of the lion in the evening in the Okavango, I think even people back home where I'm from, there'd be something missing in the world.
For Andrew Steyn, this landscape is a reminder of what still exists and what could be lost.
What I love about this landscape is that it's a reminder that there are still wild, intact places in the world. It just gives me hope that we still have places like this that still exist, that we have the opportunity to protect. What I'd like the world to know about Botswana is that, to me, it's the greatest chance in all of Africa for wildlife conservation.
My experience of this place and working with the people here and the program in general has just been absolutely phenomenal. It's been life-changing. Conservation is people-based first and foremost. Wherever you go in the world, whether it's the Okavango Delta, the Amazon rainforests, wherever you go, there's always been people living there. These ecosystems are not isolated from, or they're not void of the touch of humanity. There's always been people there. And unfortunately, for a very long time, the idea was that people are the problem. Get rid of the people, let nature be on its own. It cannot be.
Communities are at the heart of what we do. So I want people to understand that there's no future for wildlife and conservation without communities at the heart of it.